Hello, hello. Sorry, we've been really busy last week, so we weren't able to keep you guys as updated as I would like. So I gotta go all the way back to Wednesday. So this might be a longer episode, but hey, you get to hear my voice. So I guess it's a lose-lose situation, really. So on Wednesday, Philly takes a 3-0 lead on the series, winning 5-2 against the Pittsburgh Penguins. It is not going well for Pittsburgh right now. They need to regroup. They need to find a way, and we'll see how it happens as we go through the episode. Now, Dallas takes the lead with a 2-1 lead, with a 4-3 second overtime victory. This was a nail biter. There was physicality, not really any dirtiness, but it was a physical game. Now, something's wrong in oil country because the Ducks beat Oilers 6-4. It's not really acceptable in playoffs to lose by six, like let 6 goals in, and it just shouldn't happen. 4 goals should be more than enough in the playoffs to win a game. Thursday, April 23rd, Avalanche played against the Kings. As expected, Avalanche did win it, but the Kings are keeping it close. Like, this series was meant to be like a easy sweep, and it's gonna be, but the Kings are putting up a fight and they're not going down without one. And that is nice as a kind of send off to Kopitar, saying, look, we might lose this one, but at least we're going out swinging. The Sabres take a 2-1 lead over Boston with a 3-1 victory. So now they're going to be, again, going to Boston, fighting for game 4, tie it up, or go up 1. Carolina, again, beats Senators. Honestly, I'm at a point, and if you're a Senators fan, I respect your choices, but Senators are playing dirty. They're playing way too physical. They're doing dirty hits. They're not playing the hockey as it should be played. They're kind of just see puck, forget puck, watch body, hit body, and I'm not really for it. So we'll have to see how it goes. But Canes need to win the next one, and I'm hoping they do. Now we go to Friday, April 24th. Montreal wins 3-2 again in overtime and takes the lead 2-1 in the series. This was a physical game, and again, for the third time in a row, this series goes into overtime. So, and realistically, Tampa Bay has this top line shut down. It's all secondary scoring. Caulfield, Suzuki, and Slavkovsky, other than the first game, Tampa's been shutting them down. Utah showing Golden Knights they can hang with the big boys to take a 2-1 series lead after a 4-2 win. Now, mind you, it was 4-0 for Utah halfway through the second. So maybe Golden Knights just need to learn how to play hockey from the beginning, or just let Utah win, I suppose. And again, as I said before, something's wrong in oil country. Oilers put up 4, which should win you the game. Just previously, we were stating that Mammoths won 4-2. Montreal won 3-2. That's 1 goal less. You score 4, and the Ducks score 7. As much as I want to support the Edmonton because I'm Canadian, they got to fix something. Like, you can't put all this weight on McDavid and Draisaitl to just score everything. You need to defend better, and that's how you win games. Defense. Like, yes, offense is a big part, but if your defense isn't helping you in any ways, then how are you going to win games? Now, as I previously stated, I am trying to talk about these games as they went. So there's things I will say previously in this episode that I'll be like, hey, look what happened. And it kind of contradicts himself, but I want to stay authentic and just say the scores as the day goes by as if I don't know the next one. So, thankfully, Hurricanes do beat Senators 4-2. Now, I don't remember which game it was, and that is on me. Deeply sorry. Nichushkin is out with a concussion after that massive hit with Greg. And if you don't know what the hit, I strongly suggest you to go watch it. Not for a fact of like seeing the big hit and seeing a player injured, but I also want you guys to see the response the Hurricane had. They right away went to Greg and kind of pushed and shoved just to be like, hey, man, you can't do that. I'm defending my guy. But he's having a hearing about that hit from the NHLPA. So we'll see how that kind of shapes up. That I'm kind of hoping, like, I've seen this hit. It was bad, guys. Like, there's no way a hit like that should be in a game. The Wild would come to overtime once again, win 3-2 to tie up the series after game 4. This series is insane. It is physical. Unlike Ottawa Senators, both of these teams are physical, but they're clean about it. I personally want the Wild to win. I think they deserve it after losing 8 times in the first round in the last 10 years. So we'll see how that goes. Pittsburgh wins a game. The Pittsburgh Penguins finally win a game 4-2, which I am glad because if they do lose the next game, at least they went out with taking a game and not kind of making that playoff useless. It was the Battle of Pennsylvania. I felt like it should have been a lot tighter, a lot more competitive, and Flyers have just been outplaying them. And Vladar just turned into like prime Tuukka Rask. So we'll have to see how that goes. And yeah, like that this was a very interesting day on Saturday, like tight games. And I mean, just the Senators losing was cherry on top for me. Like I just don't like how they're playing this playoffs. And if you're a Senators fan, like I said, I respect your choices, but I just don't find your team is playing well. Now, if we go on Sunday, Montreal and Tampa Bay. Now, this is the first time this series doesn't go into overtime, and it's game 4. Lightning wins 3-2. Caulfield finally scores, so that empties that drought. Gensel with a goal, and that adds to his total to a goal and 6 assists in this playoff, so he is off to a scorching start. Meanwhile, Kucherov also has 5 assists in this playoff, and I'm pretty sure 2 goals. So Lightnings are hot, but as a Habs fan and a Canadian fan at all, I still think Montreal Canadiens can take this and put on a good show and go to the second round. Avalanche versus the Kings. Now, as I said, we all knew this was going to happen. These were kind of the scores, though, that I was thinking, like 5-1. We finally saw the blowout that we thought everybody thought that the Kings were going to get facing the Avs, not these tight games. McKinnon scored, opened up the scoring fairly early with 7 minutes left in the first, and from there it was kind of just Avalanche's ball or puck game, really. McKinnon with 2 goals and an assist. Landeskog got an assist. Even Nikola Ra got an assist, so it was busy. But you think 5-1 was bad. Buffalo beat Boston in their barn 6-1. It was 4-0 after the first. I don't know in the series how you can let 4-0. And it was not Swayman's fault. He was playing on his head, and Boston was just leaving him out to dry. And it's the same thing with Allmark with the Senators. As much as I don't like the Senators, Allmark played a great game. He posted above .925 every game, but Senators just couldn't score. So, again, Sabres. Swayman was fantastic. He got pulled. He yelled a couple of words to the coach, which later was said to be rumored that the words were "Today's not my fault," which I gotta agree, it wasn't. He was standing on his head. Sabres had 35 shots to Bruins 24, so there's an 11-shot discrepancy, and it didn't seem like his defense was helping him all that much. There's nothing much he can do. Ducks win again against Oilers in overtime, 4-3, and now Anaheim has a 3-1 lead, and they're in trouble. So Oilers gonna have to hope McDavid and Draisaitl can carry on their back, but they shouldn't have to deal with that much pressure, honestly. Now, Monday, April 27th, Pittsburgh wins again. I am calling it. Pittsburgh could be the team to pull a reverse sweep on these young Phillies. Maybe Philly just exerted enough energy that they are tired and just can't win that fourth game. And Penguins, being the veteran they are, they've been in the league for a while. Everybody on that roster is mostly like on the older side, and they kind of reserve their energy. And now that the Phillies are being burnt out, they're taking full advantage of that energy. So I wouldn't be surprised if Pittsburgh reverse sweeps Philly. Now, Golden Knights win a game in overtime against the Mammoths. This game was, I don't want to say close, but after 16 minutes into the second, it was 3-0 for the Golden Knights. And the Golden Knights win 5-4 in overtime. Blowing a 3-0 lead in the series is a hard thing to do. All you have to do is defend. Take plays away, make sure you have plays, and it'll work. But Nick Schmaltz, with 12 minutes left, scores. And then, again, in the second, and again, 20 seconds later, Ian Cole scores for Utah. And then Utah would score early in the third period to tie it up 3-all. And not only would they tie it up, 4 minutes later, Clayton Keller, their captain, would score the go-ahead goal to make it 4-3 Utah. So basically, Vegas scored 3, and then Utah scored 4. Now, lucky for Vegas, midway through the third, Brett Howden got a pass from Hannafin and sniped it right in. Tied it 4-4, and then in overtime, at the end of overtime, they would score to give them a 2-2 series against Utah. It was Shea Theodore. He's been doing this for a while. Now, come to today, the recording session. There is 3 games and 3 very important games. Now, Buffalo's leading 3-1 against Boston. Boston needs any ounce of strength they can have to win these. Boston does come out in the win in overtime with a 2-1 win, with Elias Lindholm scoring halfway through the second, and Pasternak scoring the overtime winner. Now, Buffalo did score in the power play in the first, with Rasmus Dahlin with a pass from Zucker and Thompson, but it was a pretty even game. So the Sabres will try to close out against Buffalo on Friday. And then if that doesn't happen, well, they go back to Boston and try it again. Now, Minnesota played today against Dallas. Minnesota won 4-2 against Dallas. That gives Minnesota the 3-2 lead in the series, which keeps my hopes up that Minnesota will make it into the second round. I'm not per se a Wilds fan, but I really like how the Wilds are playing. They're fast, they're skillful. Matt Boldy is helping them greatly. And Zuccarello back for this game too was a huge help due to the fact that he scored a goal and Boldy assisted to 2. So they're just doing what they're supposed to be doing, and Kaprizov is still hot. Anaheim and Oilers. Like I said, the Anaheim before this game had a 3-1 lead. And for you Ducks fan, Oilers won 4-1. So watch out, because it's 3-2. If Oilers is able to tie it up to 3-3, we might just have an interesting end to this series. So with all of that, and I just want to recap and Just say where the series are at and who is waiting on who. So Colorado swept LA and is waiting on the winner of Minnesota and Dallas. Which that series is 3-2 Minnesota. Now, it's 2-2 Utah versus Vegas, and Edmonton versus Anaheim is 3-2. The winner of those two will face off in round 2. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the Carolina swept the very dangerous, physically, not skill wise, Ottawa Senators. And they are waiting on whoever is winning between the Battle of Pennsylvania, which I personally feel Pittsburgh could pull out the reverse upset. Now, the Atlantic Battle. Buffalo and Boston is 3-2 and is a very competitive and physical matchup. Tampa and Montreal are tied at 2. A lot of people are thinking this is kind of the Eastern Conference final being played right now. It has landed with 70% of the time played is tied. So it is a very tightly contested game. Not a lot of dirty hits. The reffing's a little iffy, but it's the playoffs. It's always iffy, and no one's going to be happy all the time with the refs. So I hope that I was able to kind of give you a crash course or just what you guys were looking for. And I hope that the Stanley Cup playoffs keeps bringing you hopes and cheers. And for the listeners out there that their teams are losing, there's always next year. The NHL is not going anywhere. There's always going to be a rough time, and there's always going to be a good time. And I would know, being a Habs fan, a couple of years back, we were in the Stanley Cup final against Tampa Bay, and then we had 3 years of misery. Last year, we squeaked by in the playoffs. We didn't really do all that well against the Capitals. We lost in 5. And this year, we're looking so much better. But being a fan is being a fan through the ups and the downs. So just have fun watching this hockey. Watch as much hockey as you can. Watch it with the people you love. Watch it with your family. And at the end of the day, we're just Hockey Nation,